Hello, everyone. This is Anastasia Stoyanova with you guys. Welcome to a new episode of this podcast. And today, I'd like to share with you about something personal. I want to explain why in March I only released basically one episode, and that's it. March was very busy for me, and it was very special time because something incredible happened from without further ado, I'm gonna say it. I took the French exam and I passed the French exam, though I want to admit that my goal for this year was the DELF B2 exam, but I decided to give it a try. And without waiting, I just wanted to test and to get this document to document my progress in French. So I took and I successfully passed DELF B1. For me, the French language has been a long, long journey. If you haven't listened or watched the episode where I talk about it, please do. I just want to quick recap to say that I started learning French from zero. I did not have any knowledge at all. It was a long time ago in 2023, and I had some time, on and off where I stopped. And my initial purpose was to learn French for immigration, for going through the documents for Canada. But then I got the documents through other means and ways and immigration pathways. But for some time, I gave up French learning, but then I decided to get back to it because I do love languages. I consider myself as a polyglot. This year, I even tried learning a bit of Spanish, though I will create a separate episode about that, and I will explain how things went, how I started. But today, it's all about DELF B1, and I just wanted to share my experience. So, first things first, like every polyglot, I think for me and a professional educator, like a teacher, yeah, I think it's important to just say that, to say this. Language learning and passing the test are very different things because language learning is a lifelong journey. You start learning and you never stop. But when it comes to passing the exam, like taking and successfully passing the exam, you got to train yourself, you got to practice. So that took me a lot of time also and a lot of effort to get acquainted with the DELF, how DELF exams are organized. First of all, I want to say that DELF exam is not for Canadian immigration. But it's an international diploma issued by the French ministry, the Ministry of France. So it's very prestigious and it's very reputable, and it's a great thing to have on your resume, on your CV as well. And it serves you as a proof of your skills. Especially in Canada, French skills are very important if you want to get a government job, and it just opens up your mind and a lot of opportunities. So, again, I'm not like an official ambassador or anything. I'm just saying that I love the language. I have been learning the language intensively since 2024 again. I got back into it and just, I wanted to take DELF B2, DELF B2. It's DELF B2, upper intermediate. But before that, I was just talking about it with my friend, and he told me oh, why don't you give it a try and just try and take DELF B1 first, just to build your confidence before you actually go and attempt DELF B2, because it's quite a challenging exam. So I just wanted to share some experience with you, and this DELF B1 exam I took at Alliance Française, Toronto. So here at the school in Toronto, Alliance, French Alliance, basically, if you translate Alliance Française, in downtown, and this is the school that I have been studying at for quite a long time now, and truly appreciate my mentors and teachers there, and just all the great people I met there, my study buddies, and it's been my pleasure. And yeah, so DELF exam consists of 4 parts. In most cases, all of the 4 parts are done on the same day. Like listening, reading, and writing are done within the same session. And then the speaking, they invite you, and it consists of certain parts. So I'll just briefly describe the exam experience because I made this voice memo and a note for myself on the same day. It was in the middle of March, actually, and yeah, I was pretty nervous, but I think I did great. My score was 84.5 out of 100, so it means I did really well. I'm really proud of myself, and I'm striving to go and take DELF B2 soon. So listening consists of 3 parts, and everything is done on paper, so it's not a computer-based test like some tests like CELPIP or TEF, TCF, right? So it's done on paper, so it took a bit of practice also. For me, I think the most problematic part was writing, because I almost don't write on paper anymore. I always print in French, I print in English, of course. So it was, I think, the most challenging, though the task itself was not that hard. But listening, so 3 parts. The first part, it had 6 questions, and the context was like 2 friends were talking about the language courses in Europe and some pros and cons of each language course. And in part 2, there were 7 questions, and in my case, the context was a business person talked about the idea of reusing and recycling some old toys, and he was trying to build a business around it. So you see like how parts get more complicated. And in the third part of listening, also it had 7 questions, and my context was that a man rented out his house in the countryside to all the self-employed people who wanted to come and work outside the city. So also pros and cons of this business idea. It's like a co-working basically, but in the countryside. I like this kind of context, and everything was done on paper, like I said. In all of the parts, you only had the multiple choice, so you did not have to write the answers by yourself, right? So you're always given the options, just like on CELPIP. Reading was quite nice for me, and I think what truly helped is subscribing and having the subscription of Le Monde. If you have ever heard or not, check it out if you haven't. So that subscription and reading a lot of articles on a daily basis helped me to pass reading successfully. I think I scored like the maximum score, or like 24.5 out of 25, because each part is 25 points. So I think reading was one of the strongest parts for me, and speaking, of course. I think for me, when it comes to any language, somehow it's always like that. Reading and speaking are better, and listening and writing, I always like, these are not the weaker areas. I don't want to say like that, but it's always just a bit more challenging for me to do that. Reading also consists of 3 texts. In the first part, you get small texts, and you match the text to the criteria of the choice that you have. So, for example, in my case, the context was I had to choose a place for my vacation, and I had the criteria. So for my vacation, I needed to find some information in the text. And if it matches my criteria, for example, vegetarian dishes served in a restaurant, then I had to put a tick yes, or in French it's vrai ou faux. Donc, so yeah, that was like this. In the second part of reading, I had the context. The text was about non-traditional schools for kids. In such schools, kids wanted to study only what they want, but they had to get approval by their teachers, and they had to justify. So very European text, so to speak, very French, open-minded text, and non-traditional education. Quite interesting. In part 3, the text was about a driverless transport in one of the cities in France. Like basically, driverless cars, I think. So interesting, and I loved all the texts. I I like how it's all structured. I think it's very logical. You always get the multiple choice. Lots of paraphrase. The same goes for listening as well. So both in listening and in reading, you get a lot of paraphrase. For my writing part, so writing also takes 45 minutes and it's only one task for DELF B1. You gotta write an email or a letter. Can be formal or informal, but in my case it was informal, and I was writing to a French-speaking friend who has been preparing for an important exam but wants to give it up. And you gotta share your experience, explain why this exam is important, and give advice how to succeed. I think I did okay, but honestly, writing on paper and in French, I think this skill was a bit underdeveloped. Like, I want to practice writing more on paper in French. So, this is just some goal to have in mind. Because personally, I was not satisfied the way I did. But I hope I will do better next time. Speaking was very stressful because it's done with the 2 examiners and it's done in person. So the first task, you can actually prepare for this task. It's a self-presentation, but it's a freeway presentation. So the examiners might ask you about your job, your interests, your studies, lots of follow-up questions. So you can prepare several sentences talking about yourself, but mostly it's spontaneous. In the second part, I think the second part is the most challenging because it's a spontaneous role play. You pick up 2 topics, 2 pieces of paper, and you read the topics. They give you like 15 seconds to do that, and you choose the topic. So for example, in my case, I had, the first context was you're choosing the restaurant to dine with your colleagues, like formal work meeting at a restaurant, and you gotta negotiate with your boss. I did not choose that one. The other one was I had to talk to my boss also, and I needed to persuade him or her to reschedule the offline trip that had been planned. I had to reschedule to an online mode of event and explain why I wanted to do that. So I chose talking to my boss regarding rescheduling this trip to online. It was nice. I think I made examiners laugh because I assumed like, okay, I can start whatever, and I started like bonjour monsieur, and my examiner was a woman, and I don't know, I was just nervous, and I guess I assumed that the boss, like le chef, I think in the card it said le chef, and so I started as if I'm talking to a man. I guess in my culture, in Ukraine, as well as in many other post-Soviet Union countries, somehow when you think of a boss, you still think of a man. So, and you see, like, under pressure, when I was stressed, I somehow, that what came out. But it was funny, and I said, like, I apologized, I said, bonjour, madame, oui, so I kind of self-corrected. So it was a funny moment, but I was kind of reflecting upon that after, and I was thinking to myself, oh my god, what was I thinking? Like, I don't know, I was just very nervous. So be prepared. In part 3 of the speaking, you prepare a short speech. They give you 10 minutes to do that before you actually come in. They give you the tasks for this part 3. You pick up 2 topics also, and you choose one. And before you come in, they give you about 10 minutes to prepare. So one extra person prepares you and serves as a proctor, so to speak. So he or she is watching over you. My 2 choices were acting classes became obligatory in French colleges. I chose that topic. I really liked it. The other topic was about juggling family life and work. The context was something like a single mother who works and takes care of the kids. I chose the acting classes topic because I think it's cool and it's relatable. I used to do acting classes back both in high school and in college. So I summarized the text, I listed pros and cons, and I gave my opinions. So that was fun, and that was all. And what I truly liked is that the test started at almost 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So for me, that's more convenient if you compare to some Cambridge exams I took in my life that started at 8 a.m. sharp. I'm not a morning person. I don't want to go. So, CELPIP also, CELPIP tests, they usually start very early. IELTS tests. So, you could feel this French touch, just a bit laid back, start at 12 in the afternoon, like this. So, I just want to also point out that my speaking examiners were great and helpful, and everybody wants you to succeed. So for me, this experience helped me build this confidence in myself that I can move forward and I can actually try and attempt DELF B2 upper intermediate exam and use it for my career development, personal development. I just want to also say that in the past, I used to learn other languages as well. Like I used to know German really well. Like I'm pretty sure I had upper intermediate level, but I never took the test. And then it's been a while. I never used German. I think since 2020 or something. So it's been over 6 years since the last time I used German, and my German got rusty, and I'm just feeling a bit regretful that I never took any international tests. Just something to have as a memento, as a memory that would serve me as a proof, because only in my diploma it says that. In my degree, it says that I'm an English and German teacher, actually, So I just feel a little bit regretful that I never did that. So that's why with French, I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to postpone that. I want to take this exam. And so I did. It takes courage, but right now, if you're learning French or if you're learning English, just go for it. Go and try, and you will have a nice document to put on your CV. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And for the next time, I prepared super duper topic. Like it will be very, very relatable and more, I would say, life related also. But I hope you truly enjoyed about DELF B1. Stay tuned, and yeah, let's stay in touch and see how my DELF B2 goes. Have a great day. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.